computer. All right. So the program of this webinar is as such. Initially, we would present the revised code of conduct in structure and the context. Then Leonidas Papacharisis will give us a presentation of how to comply with the objectives and the standards that are presented and included in this code of conduct. Then he will follow a presentation to present the KPI platform and the interface that has been developed within the objectives of Performvis. We'll have a short break, and then we'll have two presentations. One on the consumption of farm fish and fish products, in comparison of consumer preferences, which will be made for Yari Vecchio, and then the marketing of sea bass and sea bream, understanding traditional and emerging market trend for those species, from Christian Philippe. So let me just close some pop-ups I have here on my computer. So do you all see the screen, the presentation of the revised code of conduct?
Yes. It's not in presentation mode, but we see the slides. Yes.
All right. I think now it's better.
Now it is. Yeah. Thank you, Yanis.
Now it is. Yes.
All right. So the objective of this of the task of in the working package 7 was to develop a code of conduct and consolidate best practices and harmonize standards to raise consumer awareness and advocate social environmental responsibility. We wanted to develop a code of conduct that presents a set of values and principles based on commonly approved practices, which is expected from a person or company that it is, operates in the Mediterranean marine fish farming sector. It was crucial for us that this code reflects and receives the endorsement from all companies, regardless of their size, either they are SMEs or they are big companies or vertically integrated. So we would like to adapt the objective of this task in a visionary document. We wanted to develop an aspirational code of conduct that will establish an ethical culture that the companies will endorse and commit, increase transparency in our operations, improve social acceptability for the industry and the products, and enhance competitiveness, in particular with the imported products from third countries. We didn't want this code of conduct to be a technical or a scientific document. We want to be perceived from a consumer approach of view. However, the standards and the practices that they are included in this document are based on scientific, on KPIs and scientific, knowledge. So this slide presents the methodological approach we follow when developing the code of conduct. Practically, it's a combination of previously approved code of conduct and knowledge deriving from other research projects and updated, let's say, farming know-how. We took in consideration as well relevant guidelines, recommendations, and other paper from other stakeholders, such as the AAC and the Animal Platform Welfare Platform, and the recent EU policies, such as the Green Deal and the Farm to Fork. And we have to say as well that we work a lot and we took into consideration other code of conduct that have been developed from the salmon industry. This slide presents the structure and the content of the code of conduct. It consists of 4 main parts. The first part presents the nature and the scope of the code. The second part presents the objective of the code. The third part the relationship with other European and international bodies and stakeholders. The fourth part set the general principles of this code of conduct in 3 different chapters. And this is the heart, this is the essence, let's say, of this code, as each chapter covers challenges that are linked to the social, environmental, and economic sustainability of the industry. And we wanted to make it to look like more like a sustainability report, actually. And in order to consolidate the best practices, certain KPIs have been identified as well. So when it comes to the methodological approach of the fourth part, of the fourth part, yeah, I would like to remind you that we developed 3 working groups to deal with each chapter. And in those working groups, associations, industry associations from 5 countries have been engaged: Greece, Italy, Spain, Croatia, and France, and 2 research partners, ISPRA and University of Las Palmas. FGM developed, let's say, the first draft, and then we received input from the working groups and the working package leaders, and we try to connect each of those chapters with the KPIs which are related to each of those challenges. So the first part is related to is about the nature and the scope of the code. First of all, we would like to highlight that, and as every code of conduct, it has a voluntary nature. It is a voluntary set of rules and procedures based on scientific knowledge, social expectations, and farming experience. It describes the main goal of the code, which is to promote the responsible development of a viable and sustainable Mediterranean marine fish farming, while respecting at the same time the environmental standards and social challenges and consumer demands. It refers to whom the code is directed, namely to every legal or entity that is engaged with the marine fish farming. And finally, we would like to say that the code is not definitive. It is not written in stone. It addresses those areas that currently considered to me of prime concern, but however, it can be further elaborated and revised when such a need arises. Part 2, the objectives of the code. This part presents the main objective, which is already, let's say, described, which is to address the social stability, environmental responsibility of the industry, and additionally to motivate and encourage the partners to develop further the principles and best practices. The third part presents the relationship that we should have with other European and international bodies and stakeholders, refers practically to the consultation of individual and companies with those stakeholders at European, regional, and local level for the development of and the development and implementation of policies, practices, and regulations. This code recognizes as stakeholders those private and public entities that somehow have impact both in our operational environment and the markets. Now we'll go to the fourth part, and which is the general principle. As we say, its deployment is in 3 different chapters. The first chapter is about creating value for the society and the consumer, and addresses 6 related issues. It addresses the contribution of the sector to supply healthy food throughout the year and cover the increased demand for fishery products. It refers to the consumer health and safety, and the primary goal of our sector to produce high quality, nutritious food for human consumption. Therefore, aspects such as food safety and relevant best practices are outlined and included. It addresses the consumer information and how the industry would pursue correct information, correct and complete product information to the consumer in order to promote informed and responsible purchase and raising awareness of the quality of the EU aquaculture products. In some cases, suggest, apart from the mandatory consumer information, to encourage to develop involuntary consumer information, such as nutrition profiles, refers to R&D investments, and the codes encourage the companies to allocate resources for R&D to improve the performance and the efficiency of the industry. Very importantly, I mean, also highlights the community engagement and the objective of the industry to maintain positive relationship and an open dialogue with the local communities where each producer operates. We have to remind that one of the main obstacles for the growth of this industry is social acceptability, and we have to address this and to make an effort and to improve our relationship with the local communities. And obviously, this part we highlight and the need of economic performance, and the code may reference as well to the competitive market we operate and how we compete to secure market shares and maintain profitability. It is essential to maintain, let's say, attractive financial results in order to continue to invest. The code as well encourages the engagement to collective activities to provide market intelligence as well. The second chapter of part 4 is dedicated to creating value to the environment and the overall environmental performance of the industry. It provides recommendation on how to improve the performance of the sector. The code encourages the promotion of sustainable aquaculture operation based on practices and standards to support a precautionary approach to environmental challenges and undertake initiatives to promote greater environmental responsibility. Amongst them, the development of appropriate site selection. There's a need for a comprehensive and favorable legal framework to ensure and facilitate appropriate site selections based on environmental impact assessment. It also focuses on fish health and advanced welfare, and recommends the adoptions of a veterinary health plan based on prevention, vaccination, the responsible use of therapeutic agents, the operation and application of operational welfare indications. And actually, it expands, it extends beyond the basic legal requirements that we have to comply with. It refers to the intake of live fish stocks and the need for the good health and known origin. Highlights that would not use genetically modified fish in order to safeguard and maintain the natural characteristic of our products and what we offer to the consumer. Addresses the sustainable fish feed and correct feeding practices to reduce wastage and assuring better water quality, good health, and effective farm management and performance. Also refers to the biodiversity of wildlife interactions, and recommends continuous monitoring of the impact of our operations to the sediment, to seek measures to minimize potential risk by escapes, and the introduction, of course, of alien species, of aliens and locally absent species. Of superior importance as well, climate change, adaptation, mitigations, despite the fact that aquaculture has the lowest greenhouse gas emissions of all farm animal sectors. The code encourages fish farmers to support measures to monitor the carbon footprint, to improve energy efficiency, and measures to reduce dependency from critical feed materials. And finally, in this chapter, the code supports the commitment to sustainability and encourages farm certification thoroughly through globally recognized international standards. And finally, the third chapter is about creating value to the employees, which practically is the driving force of this industry. We need to acknowledge that every single achievement of this sector was only made possible because of the dedication of the employees, of our employees. So the code refers to the employment as the industry employs thousands of men and women and should share a common set of core values to promote fair treatments and safe working conditions. Also, the industry provides same rights level both to permanent and seasonal employees. It addresses the occupational health and safety. All sites should establish an annual safety plan and provide protective equipment, carry out risk assessments with respect to possible risk and safety hazards. It refers to the human rights at work and how our industry should support the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in our operations to require a similar commitment from suppliers and participants in our supply chain, recognize the right of all our workers and employees freely to form joint groups for the promotion and defense of their interests. And of course, all our operations should be conducted without any discrimination. Fish farmers commit to respecting the privacy of individuals. And finally, the code refers to the vocational training and education, and that the sector should provide training programs or encourage our employees to pursue postgraduate studies and diplomas to improve their skills and improve further and further the efficiency of their work. Practically, this is the code of conduct, and that was the final part. And I don't know if there are any questions regarding the outline or the conduct of the code of conduct. If not, then we will pass to the next presentation that is from Leonidas Papacharisis. So let me escape.
Good morning, Yannis. Are you going to?
I will make you host, so you will be able to. Wait, stop share. Hold on a second.
I will share my screen now.
Yeah, can you do or?
Yes, I will do.
Wait, Leonidas Papacharisis more. You can share your screen?
Yes, I will do it.
All right.
Thank you, Yannis. Good day to all of you. The aim of this part of the presentation is to show to the members and of this value chain of Mediterranean marine aquaculture how it will be possible to prove the compliance with the code of conduct prepared with the cooperation of the associations, maricultural associations in Mediterranean and their stakeholders. It is very detailed, the main scope of the code of conduct, as it was described already from Yannis Pelekanakis. It's a great opportunity to, with this code of conduct, to present to our stakeholders what are our principles, what are our targets, what are our commitments as producers, far beyond what it is described from the legislation. And this way will be possible to present to all of our stakeholders how we believe that we can contribute to the future of this sector. It is quite clear that compliance with the code of conduct is on voluntary basis, and it's not possible only for the producers to be to show compliance and to commit with the principles of the code of conduct, but also of other members of the value chain. So this could be possible for national associations of fish farmers to show compliance with the code of conduct, with individual fish farmers that they want to show this compliance, also to producers' organizations, but also to suppliers and service providers that are in close cooperation with the aquaculture companies, and they are also contribute to shaping this sector. In the next slide, we can see the different means of compliance. We can divide these means into different areas. The first is consisted of policies, working standard operation procedures, and also KPIs that all the companies they want to show the compliance they have to prepare. And the second pillar is the auditing of the companies in order to show to verify the compliance with the code of conduct. So regarding policies, policies in different areas, we're going to have some examples later, that have to be written, have to be public, and have to be approved by the management of the organization. In order to secure the implementation of these policies, we have to prepare working written procedures, standard operation procedures, working instructions, and other documents that can show in more details how we are going to implement all the different commitments that we have undertaken. And in these documents, we can describe the responsibilities and also when we have to act and how we're going to act, and who will act in all different procedures. And in some cases, maybe also some more specific working instructions in order to give to present in detail what actually we have to do in each of the different areas. And finally, in order to show how we perform regarding our standard operation procedures and how the targets of our policies are met, we have to define and to make also known and public specific KPIs. KPIs that will be public available and will show the performance and the evolution of the organization in its different aspects. Regarding audits and checklists, regarding audits, we can have different type of audits, compliance audits. It could be either internal audits or either external audits. So far, there is no any specific agreement between the associations of Mediterranean aquaculture in order to have a standard auditing system for this code of conduct, but maybe something that we have to think about if we realize that there is a significant value that it will be created with these audits. Maybe we have to consider this for the future. So in any case, we can have our internal audits in order to show to check the implementation of the policies and of the standard operation procedures that we have in place. And this could be either with our internal means, with our employees, or it could be also some external auditors that we can assign this audit. Specific checklists that will be in place in order to check the conformity of specific areas of the code of conduct and of the policies that we implement will be also in place, will be tools that will assist the auditors, but also the organization to verify the compliance with code of conduct. You had the opportunity in the previous presentation to see several aspects that are covered by the code of conduct, and you recognize that we have three different areas: the environmental area, the social area, and the governance area. So we have to have policies, procedures, and KPIs in each one of these areas. And this could be, if we go into in more detail, could be policies and procedures about site selection, about how we are going to handle our environmental footprint, how we are going to verify the use of sustainable resources, how we handle fish health and welfare, and how mitigate the impacts of climate change in our operations, and how we deal with the possible risks against biodiversity, both in the local environment, but also in the global environment. And we can have also policies and procedures for occupational health and safety for our employees, about how we handle our labor, and also regarding initiatives and relationships with the local communities that we operate. And regarding governance of the code of conduct, asks for policies and procedures for consumer safety, for products traceability, and how it is developed, the research and development and innovation within the organization. And more than that, how the organization monitor its own economic performance and the maybe also management practices that are common with other with other fish farmers in the area or with other organizations in the local community that we would like to cooperate with. And finally is also the need of certifications widely available that can cover part of the requirements and part of the commitments that we can have in the code of conduct. Just to be a little bit more detailed, we can have, for example, environmental policy. It's that can handle different and manage different commitments and clauses of the code of conduct, such as site selection and contingency plans, feed ingredient sourcing, how we deal with the impacts on biodiversity, and how we handle our fish health plans. We can have occupational health and safety policy that describes all the actions that we do with about the protection of our employees. And also we can have quality policy or procurement policy in order to define the way that we handle and we manage these critical aspects, such as our product's nutritional value, our quality standards, and the quality controls in place, but also the way that we treat our suppliers and what are the bases that of cooperation with them. And also we can define what are the certifications that the organization wants to certify his operation with. We said more, we have described already the other measures in order to ensure the compliance with the code of conduct. And these are internal compliance audits, but also certification audits. For example, as you saw in the previous slide, we can have an environmental policy, and this policy could be, in this policy, maybe we describe that the way that we handle and we organize our environmental monitoring status and how we mitigate any environmental risks. It could be under the specific standard like ISO 45000, or it could be covered by an ASC standard. So certification audits could be part of the documentation and justification that the organization complies with the code of conduct of marine fish farmers, Mediterranean marine fish farmers. And also checklists. Checklists could be either at company and organization level, meaning, and also we can have a long list of detailed checklists that we use them in order to show to verify the conformance with specific standard operation procedures and how these are implemented. But also it could be checklists at association level. So we can have checklists about at national level how an association commits show his compliance with the code of conduct and how the members of the association cooperate in order to meet the commitments and the principles of the code of conduct. But also it could be also a more generic checklist at Mediterranean marine fish farming level, that this way we are going to present to our stakeholders with this checklist our performance as a sector. And the most critical, one of the most critical things, it's also to make part of this data and documentation to make available, public available. Public available could be in different levels. We can name part of our policies and our operational procedures and our KPIs could be available upon request from our stakeholders. So we have all the data. We don't communicate many things, but whenever it is needed, we are ready to provide them when these data are requested. In other case, we can have posted on a company's web page, so we can have part of this data or all of this data publicly available through our web page. One of the great tools that also this project Perform-Fish has created is also a database that it is used both for benchmarking between the organizations and the agricultural companies across the Mediterranean for specific KPIs, and but also it could be used as a public available domain to present specific KPIs to our stakeholders. So this is data that can be presented at the national level or at the Mediterranean level that are related with the performance of the companies on specific clauses and specific requests of the code of conduct. And there are this kind of initiatives have been made already from salmon producers with the Global Salmon Initiative, that we can find several KPIs either at company level or at area level. And this is also the mean of the Perform-Fish KPIs platform that we can talk a little bit further in details about this. It's a great tool that we can use it in order to communicate data to our stakeholders and to this way to be more transparent. And that is one of the issues that many of our stakeholders are accused, the sector, that there are not many data available and we don't provide too many data to the public. Just to conclude this part, compliance with the content is of the benefit of the organization, makes the organization extraversible and transparent, can enable the communication with the stakeholders of the organization and also of the sector. In many cases, can support the decision-making process by the employees we can refer on our daily tasks if there are main questions that we have to answer. We can refer back to the code of conduct in order to provide solutions or in order to choose between real options that we might have in our hands. And finally, helps to create solid relationships across the value chain, also with our service providers, with our customers, with our suppliers. As you can understand, code of conduct is a great thing, is very good to have, but it's not enough. The next thing that we have to do is that we have to comply with this, and also we have to be transparent and show to our stakeholders how we comply with this code of conduct. Are there any questions for this part of the presentation?
Leonidas, before you move to if there are no questions, or at least I don't see a request or raise hands, I would like to inform the participants and the stakeholders that, I mean, yesterday during the AAC meeting now here in Brussels, DG Mare, requested, I mean, within the objectives of the revised strategic guidelines for to build a resilient aquaculture sector up to 2030. Right now, they are developing a code of conduct for fish welfare, for farm fish, the European Commission. It is within the objectives of the strategic guidelines. And we suggested to share with them as a good practice, as a best practice, our code of conduct, which also refers to fish health and fish welfare issues, to take it in consideration while developing or during the consultation of the code of conduct that will be delivered from European Commission. I mean, it will take some time. We're on the beginning. I just wanted to let you know that we will share our work with them.
Thank you, Yanis. Very good, this information. And yes, it's good that we have already a tool in place in order to communicate and to contribute to this discussion as fish farmers. Now I will pass to the final part of this presentation. I have the privilege to present you part of presentation have been made from ISPRA in Rimini conference, in the last European Aquaculture Society conference in Rimini, that present the platform for the Mediterranean aquaculture in order to present, to upload data and to present KPIs. KPIs that could be, as I told you, possibly to show as a sector and as a company the performance against specific policies and in specific areas, but also to be used as a benchmarking tool to see its one of us, its organization, its farm, its batch of fish, the performance compared to comparable organizations in the area or comparable batches of fish in this area. I'm going to show you just some selected slides of this presentation. There will be more in, you can find more through the webpage of PerformFish, and I assume we will organize a more detailed webinar in order to show you how it will be possible to use this platform to upload data and to take also to have analysis of this data and to check the performance of your organization compared to other organizations in the area. So this is the first page of this new tool of this KPI database created in the Perform Freeze. Now it is managed by ISPRA, the institute located in Italy, and it is possible for each organization, for each farm, from its aquaculture producer in the Mediterranean to be registered in this platform and to start to use it and to upload data and see analysis of this data and comparisons with other producers. Just to make you know that all the data are anonymous, so there's a very strict process in order to anonymize the data that are uploaded. And the only, each one of us that will upload data, each company, will have a view of their own data exclusively, either in organizational level or in farm level or in cluster level or in batch level, and will be possible to have comparison with other comparable farms in this area compared to the average values of the farms in the same area. So you don't have to be aware that your data will be public available if you're going to use this tool. So there's a short process not to register your organization, and then you can have you can create the different farms that you can have in this database. It's possible to introduce several farms, as many as you want. You have to define basic information, for example, for these farms, and you can have also have specific roles to yourself or other users within your organization in order to get access to this data. For example, so far, in this platform, there are many different batches that have been uploaded. We can see here, for example, this test organization called Livorno that has uploaded data for 15 different batches of fish, could be either sea bass or sea bream, and have uploaded the specific amount of data. And some of these data records from batches are still draft and they are not fully uploaded. In this, as you can see in this screen, it is possible to have there is a bundle of KPIs that are pure technical KPIs and are mainly related with the performance of the technical performance of the company and of the farm with and you can compare yourself between this farm with other farms or with the average farm of the area on technical issues. But also, and these KPIs for technical KPIs are available at batch level. And also there are data that are available at farm level and in the areas of environment and fish welfare that you can upload and you can compare your environmental KPIs at farm level and at the welfare level with other farms of the area. You can use these tools in order to add many batches and also to add several years, because environmental and welfare KPIs will be referred to a year basis. So you can add as many years as you have data available and you can upload them to this database. As I told you, there's not the meaning to have a full description of this platform. We're going to have a new webinar that will be presented by the possibly by the main or the organization that now manages this platform, ISPRA. Mrs. Doctoressa Marian Giovanna Marino is responsible for this deliverable, and also I think Tommaso is Dr. Tommaso is also here in this webinar. Will be possible to show us the operation of this platform in a new webinar in the near future. This just to close the reference with this platform. It is also equipped with analytical tools in order to provide basic statistical analysis of the data that are uploaded, and this way makes this also a powerful tool in order to elaborate our data and to present them in a very sophisticated way. And just as a short description of what could be available, we can see, for example, in this screen, that we can have data coming from different batches of fish. You can see the name of the batches of fish on the x-axis axis of this graph. And you can see that these batches are grouped in different quarters, that these batches were introduced in the sea. And you can see the different performance now on these batches in the time needed in order to achieve specific weight. And this way you can compare between the batches that they were stocked in the sea in the same quarter, but also you can see the differences between batches stocked on different quarters. And the different colors in this case is the time needed for each one of these batches to achieve specific size, average weight. For example, this purple area is the time needed from the introduction up to 50 grams, and then up to 150 grams, etc., etc. And you can choose between different zones because we have a knowledge that there is a different performance between fish that are stocked in the eastern part of Mediterranean and those that are stocked in Adriatic Sea or in Gulf of Leon or in the area of West Mediterranean in the seashore of Spain. So in order to make this comparable, we can have different comparisons between all these different zones. A last comment on this is that this tool is public available, meaning that there is no exclusively used by the partners and companies that were partners in the Perform Fish project. So this tool is public available and all the companies can benefit from this tool. I conclude with this presentation also. If you have any questions.
No reactions. Leonidas, actually, I would like to ask something regarding the platform that it has been presenting for the first time in Rimini, and now you are also presenting this one. Practically, it was developed in collaboration with the industry, and that was the idea and the main philosophy of this project of Perform Fish, to design an R&D project that it will meet the needs of the industry, and it will not be research for the sake of research. So we have this deliverable, which is this platform, the KPI interface, that could help improving the efficiency and performance of the sector. I mean, applicable KPIs that will help you monitor and benchmark the performance. Now, however, this program is about to finish and stop in 1 month. So what is the next steps? What are we going to do with this tool? I don't know if it is the right context to pose this question, but I'm just wondering. I mean, it was too much effort.
Tool will be available. In the now it is available and we can use it. For sure there are some maintenance costs. For the next short period is these costs will be covered from ISPRA in order to maintain in the short run this database. But later we have to define how we're going to maintain this tool, how we can keep this tool alive. And I believe that if we understand the value of this tool and how this will be create value for the companies, either as a benchmarking tool or as an open tool to communicate KPIs to stakeholders. This is the main two, let's say, users of this tool. I believe that we are going to have a design, a plan, how to keep this tool alive in the future, maybe with some on a basis of some fees for the users. I believe that this is the main the main plan, and we have to define this with ISPRA and also with other with the associations. Tommaso, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Hi, Yanis and Leonidas. Thank you so much for this webinar. Just a comment on relation to the question from Yanis. Of course, ISPRA is finalizing the tool, and we hope that many companies will be use it. And considering the first release that we already and you have the opportunity to use and you find useful, so we hope that more farms will be engaged and share their data. Well, the objective is common for each one and is to benchmark, improve their sustainable production, and improve the transparency of the sector. And I think that going back to the question of Yanis, it's something that should be probably discussed within the association also, and with us, of course, that realize this this platform. And so I hope there will be the interest of the association to keep alive such tool, but because it's very powerful, we think, and also at least taking your feedback on that.
Thank you, Tommaso. Yes, we have to discuss it, and for sure, all the farmers have to get access and to try to use it and to see the benefits that are coming from the use of this tool. Are there any other questions? We don't have any other questions. Are we going to have a break now, Yanis, and we will continue? You are muted, Yanis. You are muted.
Sorry. All right. Yes. According to the program of the webinar, yeah, we'll have a break until 12. So we could either follow the program and take a break, or we could start earlier, or if you all wish. And if I'm not sure, I don't know if Yari or Christian are here and would be able to start a bit earlier their presentations.
For me, okay.
I can do that as well now, if you want, if it's convenient for everybody.
Can you raise your hands if you agree to continue like this or to have
A break?
yes, vote
Okay.
to continue?
Well, Leonidas, sorry, maybe like a very short, like 5-minute break, and then we can
Yes, okay,
continue.
you're right.
All right.
5 minutes, please.
Okay, so we connect. I will pass it. I will pass now. I will make host the next speaker, so we will be back in like 11:20. Is this what you prefer?
Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
All right. Okay. See you in 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Perfect.
All right. Are we ready to start with the second part of the webinar? Yari, are you with us?
Yeah,
All right.
I have to share the screen, or you put the.
No, you have to share the screen. I have made you host, so you can do it.
Okay, okay, perfect. Better. Here. This one. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So maybe after 2 or 3 minutes, I will deactivate my video because my internet connection is not so amazing. But if now is good, I can leave open. So good morning to everyone. I'm Yari Vecchio from University of Bologna. And in these 15-20 minutes, I will try to show a sort of distillation of the work that we have done on consumer analysis. First of all, I will talk about how to conduct the survey, the method, the study design, and all the stuff that we do to prepare our work. And only after I will show you some results, but I don't want to bore too much because there will be a lot of data, but you can see the data alone in the study report and also in the slide that I can share with you. So, but I think that is better to show the methodology that we used to do this consumer analysis. But I want to do a sort of big disclaimer before to start, because you know, like you during the project, we were unlikely affected by pandemic, by the COVID. For us was a big problem because during our different service, we conduct 7 different services in 7 different countries, starting from the Mediterranean area with Italy, Spain, Greece, and France, and only after from in Germany, UK, and USA. The big problem was the fact that the pandemic started when we was at half of our project. So we conduct the first 4 countries before the COVID. The 3 other countries that are Germany, UK, and USA during the COVID pandemic. And we have to say that this affected a lot our results for many reasons. First of all, there was a sort of difference between these 2 areas before the COVID from the culture point of view, because the Mediterranean area, we saw in the literature that was more likely to purchase or eat this type of product, and after the other area was not so inclined to consume this type of product. With pandemic, all the results changed because the behavior of purchase changed, and so our result was affected a lot about this. For example, we expect to have a low rate in the survey, but in that period people were at home, so were more likely to answer to questionnaires. So we don't know if this part of the result are real or are affected or from the COVID, and we don't know because we need to explore these with another survey if the pandemic affected the future of the behavior of these 3 countries after the lockdown period, etc., that affected permanently the change of the behavior to consume this type of product. So to start, how we did these studies on consumer acceptance, consumer behavior perception. First of all, we try to identify some domain. From the review of the literature, we identified 4 big domain. That was the social demographic part. The second part was the frequency of consumption. The third domain was the consumer approach. So how you approach the consumer of this type of product. That was CBAS and CBRIM. And the fourth domain was about the information and the importance of the label to have some information about the effectiveness of the label on consumer behavior. Why we identify this for domain? Because after the review of the literature, we identified these four hypotheses. The first one was that the socioeconomic characteristic of consumers can influence the behavior. Okay, there are a lot of papers that confirm this, and so this was the easy part of the hypothesis that we do. The second one was the fact that consuming choice was affected also by the frequency of the consumption and how you consume some type of product. So if you consume at home, or if you consume, for example, outside home, or for example, if you consume this product only when someone cook for you, or if you are more likely to buy and cook by yourself. So the type of consumption, we understood that the type of consumption was a really important driver to understand the behavior of the consumers. In the third hypothesis, we only put the preference, so the perception, about some type of characteristics that are tangible or intangible. And in the last one, we focus on the information part. Okay, how the information can affect your decision. Okay. How we build this type of surveys. First of all, we decide to use a questionnaire. Okay, a traditional questionnaire with 37 questions. After before to submit this questionnaire, okay, we did a lot of tests. The first draft of the questionnaire was a test with a focus group. After was pre-test with a sort of soft launch with some consumers to test if the consumer understood the question, and we with a sort of feedback review of the consumer that told us, okay, this question, maybe I can understand this, but maybe someone can read this question with another sense. So after this, we build the final version of the questionnaire, and we translate all our questionnaire in all the language in the different countries, because we understood that if we use only English, for example, we can have problem in Greece, Italy, Spain, the Mediterranean area that are not so expert in English language, and the consumer that we want to use for our survey are people that are not always with so high degree of level of education and other stuff. So we decided to translate. So we used professional translator to test also the goodness, the soundness of the translation, because it was not only a translation, how can I say, a language translation, was also an interpretation of the question. If, for example, in English, the question was more clear in a way, in Italian, version we put in another way, but with the same sense, but was easier to understand. After this, we composed this questionnaire, 37 question. The question was divided in 4 domains. That was the domain that we identified by the literature. The consumer that answered to our questionnaire doesn't know, okay, the 4 domain, because that was randomized, and so that was not affected by this division. Was a sort of division that we did ex ante, and we reorganized ex post after the questionnaire, and we used the Cowie methodology to interview our consumer. This was good because in the first step we started to think that maybe we could be useful to have a face-to-face interview to better understand some concept, to use also open question in which people can answer. But after we decide to use only this approach with Cowie methodology and with close question, and this was sort of lucky for us, because after with COVID, if we did the first choice, we in this moment we can't compare the data, for example, okay, because it was totally different to compare Cowie, for example, methodology with face-to-face. The only decision that we did was to eliminate, okay, people below 18 years, and after there was some filter question to understand if they were aware about the consume of CBAS and CBRIM. First of all, if they were aware about the consume of fish product. After there was another filter question that was if they had consumed at least 2 times in the last year this type of product, because if you want to know the perception or the value of an information about the consume of something, you have to know that product, okay, because the perception about something that you don't know is 0. So we use this filter question to create 2 different groups that we named consumer and non-consumer. Okay, the non-consumer maybe with people that consume a lot of fish, but we decide to exclude from the analysis of the CBAS and CBRIM, and we analyze them only for the reason of why they don't consume this type of product. Okay. Result. Okay, I don't want to be too much boring with the result, because there was a lot of result. We can show only some part of the result and go to the last part of these slides. That is a sort of comparison in the Mediterranean area. That is maybe the most interesting result that we had, by the fact that there was the same culture, okay, the same behavior in eating the fish, and we have to say that we have the data before the COVID. The first idea was to compare all the country, but after this situation, we understood that maybe the result made after COVID pandemic can be compared with the first one, okay, the first 4 countries. So in this case, here there is some social demographic characteristic, only to say that the social demographic characteristic for gender, age, residential area, and region was representative of the population. So we used the quota of the census of the country to make this questionnaire, this survey, and we have to say that there was a sort of okay, there was some errors only in the last 3 surveys, because there was this problem to reach the real number. But after some tests, we adjusted also the last 3. So this is the real representation of the population for these three big variable: gender, age, and region. So is representative for these three. Why we, okay, this is not so interesting. What we want to show that there was this sort of strange, weird result about, for example, consumption of eating at home from German, British, and the USA, that we was expected to have a lower percentage than the Mediterranean area. But after we understood that the fact that our filter question could become a sort of biased information, because in Italy, Spain, Greece, in France, that is common to consume this type of product. When we used to ask if you consume this product in the last year, was always yes. Okay. In the case of German, British, and USA, the people that consume that say yes was a sort of niche of that market. So that was a sort of people that was so prepared about that type of product, was comparable only for this reason. But this thing make us difficult to compare this type of result. Okay, there was also this little difference between the consumption of seafood general and sea bass and sea bream, and we noticed that, for example, the seafood in general was more likely easier to consume, okay, in the everyday or 2-3 times a week, but it was okay, normal, because in the seafood when they answered, they consider also sea bass and sea bream and also the other products, so was in line with our expectation. The only thing that we noticed is that the big difference in some countries. For example, in Italy was half. That was important to notice in Italy or in Greece or in Spain. That was maybe the most important market for that type of product. Okay, I want to go fast because I don't want to bore with numbers, because there was a graph that are better. And we in this type of survey, we started to understand also the type of consumption we saw in the second domain. And we understood, for example, that there is a sort of, was easier to consume easy product in the German, British, German, UK, and USA. And in the Mediterranean area, it's normal to consume all type of product, also fresh, whole, or fresh gutted. That is not so common in the other area. There was a lot of factors that influence, okay, the consumption, or that we can consider driver to consume this type of product. But the most important is the freshness, the quality, the taste. Okay, when we asked to what is the quality, okay, there was always a problem to define what is quality, because many times quality is the same to freshness for someone, quality is the same for taste for someone, so it was not easy to understand what is the meaning of quality in the perception of the consumer. Okay, where they consume this type of product. Okay, in this case, there is some difference, because the people that prefer to consume at home, they answered, for example, specialist store or supermarket, not because they consume at supermarket, but because they buy at supermarket to cook at home. And but for example, in USA, that they don't consume a lot at home this type of product, is we have the best result for the restaurant. Okay, for the so out of home. That is this is normal, and this is also good for the literature that confirm our results. This was sort of our for us is important this question, because was a sort of the perception of these two product, if you perceive this like wild or is farmed. And we saw that, for example, for the German, UK, and Germany, there was a sort of big standard deviation in the results, okay? And in Italy, Spain, and Greece, there was a sort of concentration for the wild part. Okay, this was interesting for the result that we can see after in the cluster that we did. About the innovation, all the country are willing to try new type of product. This is normal, but we noticed that maybe the other country that are more likely to eat this type of new product, like USA, they want to eat everywhere, okay, also at restaurant and in a promotional event. The other one, they would prefer to consume at home. Here there is the part of the importance of the information. Okay, we saw that the information is a sort of crucial role in the decision of purchase fish product, especially for the sea bass and sea bream. In fact, when we asked when there is the label and when there isn't the label, and we noticed that the consumer want to know many information. If there is not the label, they ask to the seller to have information. But there is the problem of the trust on the seller, so they prefer to go always in the same place, because the most important factor that influence themselves is a sort of their experience. Okay, I bought that product in that place last time, was good, the taste, the quality, the freshness. So this is the most important factor, because they trust about information, and when there isn't the information, they have to anchor their knowledge about something, and the experience is the most important for everyone, for all the countries. Here there is the focus. Okay, we did this focus from Mediterranean area because there was this sort of okay, we can say that are comparable. Okay, because there is a sort of same behavior, but we notice that there is some difference. In fact, we use the cluster analysis technique, that is a method that everyone knows to create a homogeneous group of people that are that have some characteristic in common in the group and have different characteristics between groups. Doing this in marketing or consumer analysis is normal to create a sort of segmentation of our consumer, to understand if there is some behavior or some perception that can influence the purchase decision of consumers. In this case, we did this with this cluster analysis, and we noticed that there was this type of profile of consumers, and we identified that there was, for example, the premium consumers that are in all the country. Okay, in all the country there is a type of group of consumer that is considered premium. Here there is the characteristics that give particular attention to freshness. Here there is also some social demographic characteristic, but we don't use the social demographic characteristic to like active variables, okay? Because we want to clusterize their behavior, not their characteristic, and only after exposed to understand if the characteristics are linked to some behavior. And in this case, there was all the premium consumer are small families. Okay, this is normal because in the literature is confirmed by the fact that the fish product are seen like expensive product. Okay, so they can think that maybe consume every day or 2-3 times a week this type of product is maybe more expensive than consume other type of product. So small family with a high income, it's easier. So for this reason, this name, premium consumer, and also there is other type of consumer. Okay, here there is the discussion of the result, but I want you to show you this slide because I want to show how there is some group that are not in some countries and other that are in other countries. For example, in France, there are no traditional consumers. This for us was amazing to show because we understood that maybe this type of product, sea bass and sea bream, are considered traditional for Spain, Greece, and Italy, not for France. This was good for our result because we noticed that during the answer, French consumer was considered other type of product for their culture and their tradition. And also we noticed, for example, the importance for some countries for some type of group that are alone in this picture. For example, the healthy consumers, that we noticed that the healthy part, we noticed this group only in Italy. And we don't know in this case why in Italy there is this attention about healthy and not in Spain, for example. But we notice the people that are that give importance to healthy information in this case are under the group of conscious consumers. So they use the healthy part like an important part of the information. In Italy is divided these two things. So what is the meaning to, okay, I have only 2 minutes. So to discuss our results, that we have our result confirm the principle of the Mediterranean diet and confirm also the results that are in the literature. So this is good for the 4 countries in Mediterranean area. For the other 3, okay, we have some data that confirm the literature, some data that don't confirm, doesn't confirm the literature, but we don't know if this was affected by COVID. We have to check another time. And also we understood that there are type of consumers that need something different. And for this reason, we need to underline that we have to do different marketing strategies because they need something different. For example, people that are considered premium or traditional need something about the information of the freshness or the quality of the product. Other type of consumers need more attention for the packaging of the product because they are attracted from the packaging and they don't want to read too much the label. So you don't have to put a lot of information on the label, but the label have to be easy to understand, not like a sort of indication, another logo, but they have to understand that the product is good from the form of the packaging. And there is also another thing that is we have to underline that is not a positive thing, that maybe there is a sort of thinking in this country about the use of antibiotic in this type of production, and for this reason they put the attention to say yes, we want wild product, because they think that farmed product is directly linked with the use of a lot of antibiotics. We explain them that is not true, is not the case, but the general perception is this one. And also we think that dividing the population in this case, the sample in this group, give us this good information for the marketing part. And we noticed that if we want to focus on one characteristic to create our strategies, the product quality, that is freshness, okay, is the main determinant for the purchase. And so for this reason, maybe this is the most important characteristic. And also the production method, that is a big driver to give information to the consumer. Questions? Okay, I finished in 19 minutes. Perfect.
Thank you very much, Jari, for this. So allow me one question. So if I understood well, the main drivers affecting the consumer choice is origin and freshness.
Yeah. Origin,
which is connected, actually, which is connected, origin and freshness. I mean, freshness is linked to origin.
Okay, is a sort of two different level of the perception of the consumer, because there is this thing in Mediterranean area, consumer think that product that are the origin from that area are better than the other. I'm Italian. Okay, if you say to an Italian, this product is made in Italy, they think that it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There is no evidence.
Okay.
So it's only a sort of, in that case, is the perception about the fact that is linked to their tradition, their culture, their history, and this product is made, farmed in Italy, in Spain, or in Greece, is better than if you produce this in another country. This is linked to the part of the quality of freshness, because if you say to an Italian that this product is made in Spain, they think how they can give us fresh product from Spain. I try to explain them that they can, but the perception is, okay, if they do in Italy, maybe is more fresh than the other.
Okay, what about the price?
About the price, there is, okay, is always the price as a sort of a driver, but is connected to this. Okay, if there is these two driver before, after, okay, I pay attention to the price, but it's normal. Okay, if I have, for example, an high income, the price is less important than if I have an income below the average. Okay, but it's connected to this part of the social demographic characteristic of the income of the household, for example. But we notice that origin, freshness, and quality, that we have to understand that when they say quality is always freshness or other type of this characteristic, is more important than the price.
Okay, yesterday, just to let you know, I mean, the other day, a few days ago, the EFSA published the Eurobarometer on, I don't know if you are aware of that, and if you all have seen this, the outcome of this study, let's say. It's about food safety and drivers that affecting the choice of consumer, amongst the EU. It was, I mean, it's concerning, food in general, not fish or farm fish. And again, the drivers are primarily 50-55%, let's say, it was price, and then comes the origin, And then other issues such as sustainability, environmental affairs, or other ethical aspects. Within those ethical aspects, they included, welfare, fish health, and the stuff like that.
Yeah, I want to add this. We started to do this survey in 2017, okay, before the pandemic, the COVID pandemic. After this, if we check the data of for example, the consumption in Germany, UK, and USA, the price rise the scale of the importance. And also in this period, which we are during the crisis, it's normal that the economic driver become more important of the other one. But we was before the crisis and we did the first survey. For this reason, I told you I did the comparison only with the 4 countries that was before the pandemic.
All right.
It's normal that if you after the COVID you lose the job, you have, like in Italy, we had a lot of problem after the COVID pandemic. It's normal that you change your behavior from the economic point of view, and not only, okay, this is, or the origin is this one.
All right. If there are not any questions, I assume we could pass to the next presentation. And Christian.
Yes, hello everybody.
Christian, hi, shall I make you host you to?
Yes, please.
Hold on a second. So where is Christian? There you are. Okay, ready to go.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again.
Thank you very much. There we are. I'm just struggling a bit. Do you see my screen? No?
Yep. Yes.
Yep.
Because I don't. Something went wrong.
We can see your screen, so.
Okay, so you should be able to see my screen.
No. Now okay. Now it's okay. Back to your PowerPoint. Perhaps you could try on PowerPoint mode, on presentation mode, to have a full view of your slides.
Sorry about this.
No worries.
It doesn't seem to show anything here. What can you see?
I can see the first slide of your presentation plus on the left ribbon with all the slides.
You can see the slideshow now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Not in the PowerPoint mode, yeah? Just the first slide plus the on your left, that ribbon with nudge your email again.
It doesn't want. Something happened. No. That doesn't work.
Back to your PowerPoint, perhaps? Yeah, yeah. Now we can see the performance, your presentation.
You see it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. And you see now the first picture, I hope, or
yeah,
here we are. Okay, very good. Sorry about this confusion here, and thank you everybody for your time and for being here, and thank you, Jari, for giving us this basics as for information on how to look into the different markets. We here from Eurofish in Denmark, the international organization, have been looking into, as part of being the work package 5 leader, we have been looking into the marketing of sea bream and seagrass. In other words, here understanding traditional and emerging markets for the species. So in other words, we are really looking into the marketing of the mentioned markets that we have targeted. The agenda, I hope that you have the next slide here in front of you. Now I can't see very much. So you have the agenda with the 15 points.
Sorry, Christian, no, it's still on the first slide.
Yeah, it's still on the.
You got it now?
Yeah.
You have the agenda now?
Yeah, no, we do, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry again. So I will be going through 15 points as for the agenda, what we've been looking into as for the marketing. So first of all, we are looking into the project origin. And when it comes to the project origin, as Jari also were looking into, the minority of the markets are really very sensitive, and they have a very strong preference for the local products, for EU products as well. So when you look into, for instance, Spain, very much looking into that it has to be local. Greece, that has, when it comes to these species, nearly all of the products are of domestic origin. France, very much going for it being local. If not, it has to be European. But again, why start out with talking about product origin? Well, that's because within marketing, that is one of the first things the consumer, when it comes to these species, are looking for. Then we can say, okay, so we have the local idea. This is the need, the local production, the local proteins. But when it comes to the trust, what are we going to do on a bigger scale in order to secure, when it comes to the marketing of these species, that things actually work? Well, I hope that you can see now here my second slide with coordinated and communication schemes. There is very much the emphasis of best practice and an overall emphasis on best practice that has to be communicated at several levels. In some countries, they say, remember to eat fish 2 times a week because it's healthy. It also have to be something when you do the marketing, re-entering or entering a market, when it comes to secure that if there's any negative things that is going on social media, for instance, that you can respond to it fast and being very thorough about why this is not right, but of course in the favor of these species. That means that you have to monitor the media. And we all know that when it comes to social media, something negative can pop up very fast. It can be a movie on YouTube saying something bad, and we have to respond on that. There is also the possibility and the need of being able to go back to what has happened and what can we foresee is going to happen. So a common database had been agreed, or not agreed, but have been argued that that would be something which would be interesting and important to have. It's also to talk about at another level at the special industry related magazines and information centers about new and emerging fish species. Especially people are very, people are very conservative when it comes to eating something new. And knowing about a new species or an old species that have to be reintroduced into a market or reinforced into a market, that there is information from different magazines, that is something which people find important as well. Then there is something when we are going, again, talking about the marketing, that is that, if you can see here, point 3, stating product labeling, that there is this need that the consumer, not every time, but every time, see there is a clear overview of the expiration date, the product origin, the method of production, the freshness, the packaging date. It should be mentioned within the method of production. People have also been asking me, so should we say that this is fish from land-based aquaculture or sea cage aquaculture? Because in some countries, people are not that happy about something being land-based, or it could actually be vice versa. It could be that they don't want it sea-based because they've heard from a given country that that is not good for the sustainability, the environment, etc. Then there is something that we dare to say, education of product health attestables. And that is that we have to maintain this positive image of the health benefits. And we have to do it over and over again, because people seem to forget, even though most of us know that it is healthy to eat fish. So we have to talk about the quality. We have to inform about, when it comes to the marketing of these species, that it is really a high quality products, and the reason why. And that's point 2 here, the safety of eating it. And there is this traceability. Then when we say local, we really mean local. So if the consumer, the end consumer, are very much looking forward only to consume proteins that are made in the local area, then it is really something they can say, okay, we can trace it and we can prove, or we are being informed that this is the truth. It is a local product, or it's a national product, or it is of a neighboring country that we believe in. And talking about this positive image, also going down to point 4, about the high omega-3 fatty acids and protein content. For some it is important, for some not, but there are segments which are very much looking into this, very much indeed. And not to forget the environmental labels. Environmental labels I'll come back to later here. When it comes to wild and farm products and the marketing of the species, well, it is a fact that every market prefers wild products. So we have to see, how can we actually, doing the marketing, letting people know that these are species, in this case here, that are farmed, 90-something% being farmed. That means that when it comes to overcome the consumer's perception that it should be wild, it must be wild, and if we can choose, it has to be wild products, we have to keep on reinforcing the image of farm products supporting the local communities, farm products that you can trust, you can secure, you know where they come from. And doing that, having something very local, it is easier for people to actually being able to let people know about the animal welfare when farming the animals, what is good for environment. And again, as I said before, come back and say, it has been stated that this and that is not good, but it is actually good. We are taking care of the local community. In some cases, as for this point 4, farm products preferred by price to quality ratio, it should be mentioned that there are cases where people say, okay, we will buy this if we can get a lot of volume. And in other words, we'll go for a kilo and not 800 grams. 800 grams wild and 1 kilo of farmed. That is, of course, something to discuss. But again, there is a consumer in some areas that prefer volume and not quality as such. Again, when it comes to the wild products, they're preferred. And there is this idea that when it comes to wild products, they are a better profile of omega-3 etc. That is something that we have to be very aware of when we do the marketing to actually address the issues these ones mentioned. Well, the way we get hold of our end consumer is, as you know, that's in store. And the focus on the retail is very important. This is where we meet the consumer, the end consumer, the big volume, the many, in other words. And it has to be understood, as pointed out here, that consumers, they struggle when you look into, or when we be looking into the different markets, fish consumers really struggle to identify the quality of fish products. Well, they can't smell because it's in packaging. They can see the fish, they can see the fillet, but they struggle. And if they have tried once to open a package and there is not very nice taste or smell, then they're really put off by the product. In other words, what we found is that they are very sensitive to color and taste. And looking into the montre in the supermarket, the color is of high importance, and one has to secure that that is fine now that they can't smell it due to the packaging. The packaging also have to be something that shows that there is health benefits in it, and it has to show the quality of the products, and labels given, again, that I will come back to, as for that this product is based on a sustainable production. And really, when I state here, what you see is what you get, that people really get what they see. They expect that what they have there in the hand, it is what they can take home, and it is going to be what they imagined buying it. There are, of course, also very important markets doing the marketing when it comes to the hotels, restaurants, the cafe segments, and the high quality. And in some of these, we should certainly not forget that Europe has a good name, a good reputation in many ways when it comes to aquaculture products, cross-validation, quality assurance, quality consumer understanding. There is, of course, from these different segments, a big and a very thorough focus on the quality, because they can't have consumers that is going wrong once. There will be social media going on, etc. very fast in a negative way. So the quality, the taste, the nutritional value, and then they have the right story as for the fish welfare, the same as sustainability. Then we should not forget, when it comes to marketing, different markets, different requests. The size of the fillet, very much. When you go to the US market, they want a bigger size. In some other markets, when it comes to the fillet type, they want to be, I'd say, entertained, but they want to have different opportunities as for the cut. In other cases, they want a BB product that is lightly processed, easy to heat up, easy and fast to prepare. That is also at the lower point, the convenience food segment. But there are other markets again, where they want the fish whole, and others where they don't want to see the fish whole, but up at the other point here, as for the fillet type, they just want to see the fillet and not the whole fish. Again, well, I just mentioned it more or less, that when it comes to the fresh products, there is something about freshness. It was also discussed earlier today about freshness and quality. And when it comes to the freshness and quality, there is different focus from the different countries. You can say the Italian wants whole and fresh, the Spanish people want whole and fresh, Greece whole, French whole fish, Germany filet, UK fresh filet, and the USA fresh filet and if possible, bigger than we normally supply them with. Talking about the belief in the production, in the product, then their national promotional programs are in many consumers quite important, more important than I actually expected. So that's for these listed organizations, it is important that they inform and they show that they are involved if it's a possibility. Consumer information. So they want, as mentioned before, they want information, but they also want some kind of a universal labeling. So when they are looking at the different products, they are scanning the market. And when they're scanning the market, and that market just be the 5 possible fish species in front of them in the montre, in the supermarket, they want to be very clear, okay, this is the right label, this is the text, this is the weight, this is the price, the kilo price, etc. And of course, freshness, the method of production, the nutritional information for some consumers, others are not that interested in that. And again, origin. These points being present increase for sure the consumer trust in the product. When it comes to authorization schemes, there is a lot going on there, but quality assurance in the sense that there are being spot audits, that there are some kind of a possibility that the consumer understand that this quality is ensured, there's food safety involved, animal welfare, the traceability as mentioned before, the environmental conditions, that it is done in a sustainable way, no GMO, etc. And control certification. Control certification is really something that people are looking into. We also pointed out that the farmers' engagement is important. Stepping forward and saying that you are a farmer of a certain product is something that many consumers like. They want to see the people behind. And here also secure third-party certification, that certifications are really fine and well and to be trusted. And here comes something which is interesting, I also have mentioned in a former talk, is about a European signature label that is farmed in Europe. So as for example given again, the US market, an emerging market, that there is a label talking about that this is a product coming from Europe. That is quality and good marketing, people claim. So here we are, the European label, a label that certificates the product is from Europe. And it is secured by guidelines for communicating, for promoting the activities of this product here. It can be targeted the more professional segments, but certainly also the consumer. But again, it depends on the market. Code of conduct. There seems to be an important need to establish a kind of a code of conduct for the products and to communicate it for the consumers. And that as a conduct, that there is something that you can extract from the internet of what is the Mediterranean marine fish farming industry doing, what do they stand for? Talking about labels, several are around, and one should think that they are all good, and most of them are probably. But when it comes to the end consumer, the consumer perception, when it comes to example given here, the MSC label, with about 20% of the global catch from this label or labeled by this institute, if you like, this, then it has been receiving a lot of negative press. And that leads to consumer distrust. Again, very much something that can be fast spread out on the social media, that if MSC is put on a label, some will be saying this is good, others will be saying, we've heard something otherwise. So this is why we state that MSC is not mentioned for marketing the BB products as much as a European label due to the good image of Europe. Thank you very much, and sorry about the presentation mode here and back. Any questions?
Thank you, Christian. Full covered. Oops,
Any questions?
it seems. Wait. Well, I think that there are no questions to this presentation. We're very complete inside, so. Then in this case, I think that we have concluded this webinar. And I would like to thank the participants and the speakers for their presentations at the time. And hopefully we'll find the way, the next steps to maintain the KPI interface in order to have, to provide added value and to capitalize on the work that has been done all these years in perform fees for the benefit, of course, of the producers of the Mediterranean marine fish farming. So, having said that, I have nothing else to add. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Bye, thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.